What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay and we're locked in. Today we're going to be recapping Netflix's movie, They Cloned Tyrone. Now you're going to have to bear with me because this movie is kind of weird. It's different. Let me put it like that. It's not weird, it's different. Now it's going to appear that they're going through the same day, but it's not the same day because they didn't clone Tyrone. We got to figure out who Tyrone is and we got to figure out why they're doing all of this madness. Now before we jump into it and we break down They Cloned Tyrone, if you like breakdowns, theories, and predictions of different type of movies and TV shows, then hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button and follow me on Instagram right here. Now, this is a 2-hour movie. I'm going to try to condense into about 20 to 25, maybe 30 minutes. But let's go ahead and jump into it. This is They Cloned Tyrone on Netflix. And make sure you tune in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the live after show, where we're going to talk about this. We're going to go into detail. So let's jump into this recap. They Cloned Tyrone. We start the show off with a couple of brothers in front of the liquor store. Now you have to pay very close attention to everything that everyone is saying. Now they're talking about a gentleman and he used to work at the Piggly Wiggly, but you don't see him anymore because he's black. Then you also hear a guy saying he's selling CDs by the artist named Rufus. We also see a young gentleman come out. His name is Junebug and he hops on his bike and he heads on out. Now the young man Junebug, he meets up with our star character, and this is the guy Fontaine. Now he's riding around and we see a gentleman outside yelling, talking about, "That's what I thought." Now throughout this whole movie, we're going to see little Junebug talking and talking and talking about SpongeBob and relating whatever's going on in the show to one of the episodes. Now Fontaine, he's on a mission because Fontaine isn't a regular gentleman. Fontaine is in the streets. The gentleman that was doing all of the yelling, well, Fontaine spun the block, broke his leg, hit him with the car, went to his pockets and got his money and told him, "F your boss Isaac, you can't sell drugs around here." Now what this gentleman does do is grab his phone, and the first person he calls, of course, is Isaac, because he works for Isaac and this is messing up Isaac's money, and Isaac doesn't like his money messed up. Isaac is at home trying to have some me time. We all know how it is. You take that shower, you trying to chill, he's shaving. Well, guess what? One of the workers called and said Fontaine got on his ass, took his money, and we need to try to figure it out. But my leg is broke. And Isaac, he's saying, well, you need to get him. And I can't never have no time to myself. Fontaine goes to the liquor store. He got to get some malt liquor. He got to get some cigarillos. You know how it is. We got to pull up. But when he goes outside, he also bought a scratcher ticket. And guess what? Just like you and I, he lost. Now, they always say that the junkies, the OGs, well, they ain't OGs. They just old junkies. They know a little bit of truth. Now, this old man, Frog, does tell Fontaine after he scratches off his ticket, it's in the water. Now, you have to pay attention to what Frog is talking about because Frog been up and down these streets. So he pulls him a little bit of liquor and he keeps it moving. After Fontaine gets done running his errands, he returns home. And of course, he has to make sure mama's all right. Now, you know, you always hear people saying, I don't live at home with my mama live with me. Well, in this situation, mama said that they had a fish fry. She's watching her stories. So get on out of here. So he returns back to the kitchen and one of his associates, they begin to arrive. We get introduced to Slick Charles. This is who Fontaine's been looking for. Slick Charles, of course, with a name like that, he's a pimp. His number one go-getter, Yo-Yo, she's talking about she's retiring from the game. And what we mean retiring from the game is she's a 304. Now she's doing all this talking, running around. He's like, calm your tail down. We get a knock at the door. Guess who it is? It's Fontaine, and Fontaine's trying to collect those dollars. Now Slick Charles is saying, hey man, it's been rough out there. I ain't got the money. But Fontaine ain't playing that. And of course he got that thing going on. And I mean, he got that thing going on. He's like, we can settle this a different way, aka get to shooting. Ain't no one gonna make it up out of here. But of course, Slick Charles ain't trying to hear all that, and he definitely ain't trying to go out in the pine box. So he's like, all right, look, baby, do what you gotta do. Fontaine finds the money, puts it in the pocket. He then leaves. Slick Charles is upset. When Fontaine's getting ready to leave, he got his money. It's a good night. Well, a car blocks him in, and we know that Isaac was looking for him. Well, he notices the car behind him. He gets out, and as soon as he do, they lay him down. I'm talking about a couple of bullets to the chest, one to the gut, and Fontaine falls back in the car. He tries to drive off, but he can't. He can't. He's done for. Isaac got even. The next morning, Fontaine wakes up and he's wondering what the hell just happened to me. Didn't I get shot? Or was it a dream? But the day goes the same way that it did yesterday, basically showing us that we live the same life over and over and over. It's repetitive. We get up, we do the same thing. Frog is out there, he's talking that talk again, but Fontaine sees something a little strange in the middle of the street today. In the middle of the street, he sees a guy in a hoodie, looks like he's bleeding, walking down the street, and either a black Suburban or a black Tahoe pulls up, snatches him, and skirts off. Of course, Fontaine is looking like, what the hell just happened here? But this is the streets, so of course he's not going to report it. After seeing that, he goes back home just like yesterday. Knocks on his mama door, same response. Mama, come out here, get something to eat. No, I'm going to watch my stories. I'm good. He's wondering, man, what is wrong with my mom? Being that Fontaine felt like he got shot, he goes and talks to none other than Slick Charles again. Now, Slick Charles is tripping because there ain't no juice in the bottle. And if there ain't no juice in the bottle, throw the bottle away. But Fontaine shows up, and we know that he got shot last night. Slick Charles knows that he got shot last night. But Fontaine doesn't believe that it happened because he's here today. And Slick Charles is like, they done sent a damn ghost to my house. He ain't going for it. I wouldn't go for it. And I guarantee you wouldn't go for it either if you heard and seen somebody get shot the night before and die and show back up the next day. Slick Charles is like, listen, man, I'm telling you, I seen you shot. I came outside and I seen it. And if you don't believe me, because I'm telling you the truth, even though I shorted you on some money, I'm telling you the truth. Let's go talk to Yo-Yo. Well, they go meet up with Yo-Yo. And Yo-Yo's exposing herself because she works for Slick Charles. She told us that she was getting out the game. And last night, she seen a vehicle similar to his, and she heard shooting last night. She eventually doubled back and she seen that he was dead. So Yo-Yo confirmed it, and now it got him wondering what the hell has happened, because he did see that truck and he seen a man in the street. Now, the description of this truck, Suburban, Tahoe, all black, in the hood. Slick Charles says that's got to be an athlete or a ball player or a movie star or a celebrity, because they the only ones that ride around in the all black SUVs. They ride around the city looking for this black SUV. You know it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Once they find the house, Fontaine grabs his gun. He tells Yo-Yo and Slick, come with me inside the house. Now, this is a trap house. But when they get inside the trap house, it's dark. There's lockers in here. People are playing cards. It looks like a break room. What do they stumble across? They stumble across an elevator. Now, once they start getting a little lower, a little deeper in the ground, you start hearing some Michael Jackson playing. Now, you look at Slick Charles. At first, he thought he was cool, but he started talking to himself. Why am I on this elevator with y'all? They hearing the music getting louder and louder as they go down the elevator. Yo-Yo pulls her gun out. Slick Charles is like, you know what? You right. Let me go ahead and get my gun just in case. When they go down the elevator, it opens up and we see a whole laboratory. We see a guy in there singing, and he's a white guy, but he has a little afro on him. Fontaine's like, what is going on here? He said, man, we're everywhere. He's stuttering. He's scared. You already know how it is. What's the procedure when you got a gun in your face? There is no procedure. He's scared as hell. Fontaine's holding it down, but behind him, Slick Charles sees a powdery substance. Of course, for a pimp named Slick Charles, he sees this powdery substance and he has to try a little bit, just a little bit, to see if it's really that, you know what I mean, that pure cocaine. Once he takes a hit of it, we hear him start to laugh a little bit. And Fontaine's like, hey, Slick, what are you doing over there? Come watch him so I can go look on the other side of this laboratory. Slick Charles is over here laughing while he's watching the technician. Yo-Yo's over there mixing chemicals. Lord knows why. Well, the chemicals she mixed together, they have a chemical reaction. She drops them. It startles Slick Charles. Pow! The technician is dead. And Fontaine, what did he find? His dead body, to confirm that he did get shot last night and died. But they got to run up out of here because alarms are going off. Once they escape out of here, Slick Charles is still on that cocaine or whatever the seasoning salt that they put in there was. He's still a laughing, talking about a cat is a cat. I'm a cat, you're a cat. Fontaine, he's on a mission because he just seen his dead body, and he might be the first clone, or was the first clone the person he's seen in the street. But Yo-Yo's like, look, let's just chill, try to figure things out, wait it out tonight, all right? Fontaine, he wants to hit the block. We already seen what he was about in the opening scene. Maybe Yo-Yo can convince him to stay tonight. Well, it looks like he didn't pay any attention to what Yo-Yo was talking about, because he hopped up, he went and got his crew, and they went back to the trap house. But when they get there, they discover that there's no elevator, there's no break room, there's nothing. So whoever's been working down in that laboratory, they clean up nice. Or should I say, they trap up nice. Because everyone's looking at Fontaine like, hey bruh, you tripping, man. Ain't nothing in this house. Once Fontaine comes back and tells them that everything in the trap house is gone, Slick Charles is like, man, I had a nightmare. I ain't gonna lie to you. All this stuff happened last night. Well, it did happen. And Slick Charles is like, you know what? Let's go get some food. Now they go down to the chicken spot. We trying to figure things out. We know that Yo-Yo be reading these books. So they're trying to figure out who they are and what other information they know. We got Slick Charles, a pimp. We got Yo-Yo, a 304, and we got Fontaine, a street drug dealer. And we also know that Fontaine is dead, but Fontaine is here. Yeah, it's a crazy story, right? Slick Charles starts looking around and he's realizing that everyone is laughing. Even they're laughing. Every bite of chicken. Mo chicken. Everybody's cracking up. Slick Charles is looking around like, don't eat that no more. It's in the chicken. Now, you know, the stereotype is blacks love their chicken. So whatever they're putting in the chicken is making them laugh. But that's also what was making Slick Charles laugh last night when he took that fake cocaine, that powdery substance, to the head. Once again, we notice that the manager of the chicken spot is a white man with an afro. Now, Yo-Yo's like, Slick Charles, let me go talk to him. Let me get back there and see what we can do. So she seduces him a little bit, talking about, go get me some more chicken. When he leaves, she starts searching around the office. Now we got to find out what is going on. Is there any information? Is there any documents? What can we find out in the chicken shack? She's snooping around. Come to find out, there's a whole security system, and it is surveilling everything. The strip club, the liquor store, the alleys, the churches, everywhere that they think black people would be at. The manager comes back in. He think he's about to get some. Yo-Yo done seen everything she needed to see. And she's like, I got to go. He's hurt. The unlikely trio, they're riding around the town. They're trying to figure out information. They're trying to figure out what the hell is going down. They pull up to a hair shop. There's products. It's got it in there. Slick Charles hops into the back of a truck because they were following the truck that was delivering to the chicken shack. And in the back of the truck, grape drink. It's in every single thing that black people consume. We know that Isaac and Fontaine been going back and forth. Plus, Isaac, his right-hand man, was the one that killed Fontaine. So just like Slick Charles, he's thinking he's seen a ghost. He's like, man, you had bullet holes in you the other night. How are you here? Now, the owner of the hair salon, she's like, y'all got to take that ignorant stuff outside. Fontaine's like, all right, we got to go. And Yo-Yo, she breaks it up, pushes him out the door. But what do we find out? Slick Charles is stuck in the back of the truck, and we got to go find him and get him out because they putting this powdery substance everywhere in the city. You remember the Junkie Frog? Well, he told them they needed to go where you go to get away from Babylon, and that's Mount Zion. Well, they got to go to the church. We got Slim Charles out. He also has a government key card, and they're wondering what the hell is going on. But when you go in this church, it looks like a nice little church here, somewhere I might attend on a Sunday, Tuesday for Bible study. You never know with me, but this church looks like any old church that we went to growing up. Slick Charles is just like me. We're looking around. The band, they got a little bass line. The choir up there humming. And then you look down in the crowd, you see everybody in the congregation kind of dancing, but they ain't catching the Holy Ghost. If you look in the center of the screen, it's a lady twerking in the aisle. I said, what kind of church is this? But guess what? Up front, you see an empty bottle of that grape drink. You know what time it is. They turning up in church. You don't turn up in church. You turn down in church. The Lord turns up. You just listen. They go back to the church later on that night. They use the key card, another elevator. Now, when they get on this elevator, this time they're prepared. They got their guns out, no games. But we start to hear Yo-Yo and Slick Charles in the back talking about, I'm going down, baby. My whole world's upside. Fontaine is like, what are y'all doing back here? We need to get focused. This time, they're in too deep. They come up on 3 technicians, take their Tyvek outfits, and now they're walking around the headquarters. Now, this is up under the church, or as Yo-Yo would say, we're under the Glen. The Glen is the city. As they're walking through here, they starting to see experiments. People are chained up. We got people fighting each other, listening to different music. They're running all kinds of tests on all of these black people up under the Glen. But at this point, no one really knows what's going on. That's what we're here to find out. They get to the duplication room, and once they get in here, we see different chambers. We're looking around, confused of what the hell is going on here. Fontaine presses a button. Decanting. Basically, it means it's pouring water or pouring any kind of substance. And they're looking, and on the inside, you can see that these are cloned people. Now, Fontaine's trying to find himself in this chamber room. Once he finds his chamber, he starts shooting it. Pow, pow, pow. He doesn't want a clone to come in here. He doesn't want to be cloned. Well, once them gunshots went off, the alarms went off, and Yo-Yo was like, hey, what are you doing? We got to go now. Remember the video cameras in the chicken shack. He was doing surveillance of everywhere, quote unquote, black people be at. Well, once they come up from up under the Glen to on top of the Glen, they end up in a strip club. They came out of the stripper's locker, and now we hear the music. We see the drink, that Hennessy. I was going to take some Hennessy shots tonight, but I said, no, not with them putting this in all of our drinks. And you hear the DJ. Yeah, y'all got that mind control music, and everyone's starting to stop. They got to rush Slick Charles out of there because he's listening to the music a little bit too much, and he got that mind control over him. As they're trying to leave the strip club, everybody in the club starts attacking them, chasing after them like a zombie apocalypse. They hop in the car, they skirt off. All of the zombies start chasing after them, but they're not really zombies. They're just under mind control. But then they eventually get stopped, and a car parks in front of them. They all hop out, and all the zombie black people stop behind them. It's Super Negro, a black guy by the name of Chester, who isn't doing any talking. He's just sitting there, and you can tell that he's the enforcer, and we're just waiting to see what's next. Well, Nixon hops out, but of course, we know we all have bosses. Nixon is just the guy that the boss calls to get things done. Now, he starts to explain everything that's going on, but he doesn't go into great detail. What he does say is that America was built off an idea, and the people living in the mansions, built off the back of slaves, they just reap all the benefits. But we have to clone people, a pimp, a hoe, a drug dealer. And basically what he's saying is, as long as we got you guys, you're going to mess up your own community. We don't even have to worry about you. So we'll just keep you guys contained in one area, because it would be easy to move you out and put 3 Starbucks up by Monday. But as long as you guys are killing each other, we don't have no problem. He also said the same thing with Chinatown. Keep all of them in Chinatown, keep all the blacks in the hood, and so forth and so forth. But you better listen to him, because Nixon is speaking the truth right now. Just when they're getting ready to fight back, you hear Nixon say Olympia Black. And at that moment, we realize that he has control over everybody. Now, once he says Olympia Black, he tells Fontaine to pull his gun out and put it in his mouth. and lets them know all I gotta do is make the call and I can have you kill yourself, because that control is real. Now they're starting to realize that they don't have any control of their body. Now they're conscious and know what's going on, but once that Olympia Black is said, there's no control. You just have to sit there and wait for whatever happens or whatever he instructs you to do. After last night's incidents, Fontaine is having a different outlook on it. Maybe I should stop doing the nonsense that I'm doing and just give it a break, because Yo-Yo went to the church to try to get back down in the elevator because she wanted some get back. But Fontaine realized he didn't have any control over his body last night and had a gun in his mouth. He says, I'm done. Yo-Yo's saying, don't quit. Don't give up. We need to figure this out. Basically, this is bigger than you and I. This is for the whole black community. But Fontaine, after being in that situation yesterday, he doesn't want that anymore, because all Nixon has to say is 2 words: Olympia Black. Of course, the day begins the same way, but this time when he goes to his mother's room, he knocks on the door. Ma? But he decides to go in, and once he goes inside, he realizes that there's nothing in this room except for a table and a recording talking about, I'm watching my shows. There was a fish fry. This whole time, there's been no mother in there. They just had her voice and had it playing on a recording whenever he spoke. That's because there's been a new clone almost every single day. Now he meets back up with Junebug. You remember Junebug was trying to get put on, but he's not going to put a kid on in the game. And Junebug starts talking about SpongeBob again. Now, of course, Fontaine ain't trying to hear none of that, but his little brother had passed when Yo-Yo asked him about it. So he treats Junebug like his little brother. They start squirting Capri Sun on each other, playing around and joking. But Fontaine is realizing that if he doesn't step up and do something about this whole cloning ordeal, Junebug could be next. And that's like a little brother to him. At the moment, everyone's trying to be low key and go on about their business like Nixon said, because no one wants to die. Now, Yo-Yo, she's out walking the street with a trench coat. She got the afro out. She got the hat tilted to the side so no one can see her. But guess what? One of the other 304s is talking about, Yo-Yo, is that you? Looking like Carmen Sandiego. She trying to run off. And if you see behind her, that black Suburban is coming to pick her ass up. While Slick Charles and Fontaine are trying to get information from the other 304 about the whereabouts of where our girl Yo-Yo went, she's up under the glen again in a quiet room, a padded room. And they're telling her, oh, we're just going to run a couple of experiments on you and see what's going on. Because you remember, Yo-Yo was still trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and Fontaine said he was out the game. Well, she's about to get a first-hand experience of what's really going on up under the glen. That trio went down to 2. Now this duo, Fontaine wants to go get Yo-Yo. Slick Charles is actually thinking about it. He said, man, they're watching everything we're doing. They're hearing everything we say. First of all, we don't have enough manpower to go down there. This is basically starting a war with just 2 people. But Fontaine ain't hearing it like that. Even though Slick Charles calms him down a little bit, Fontaine was on go, but Slick Charles said we need to have a plan. Now this plan consisted of Fontaine going to try to get some help from none other than Isaac. Now you remember Isaac, they pulled up on him, they shot him, they killed him, he came back, and now he done popped up to talk to Isaac. Well, Isaac ain't trying to hear none of that. He's saying there's a Bill Nye the Science Guy up under the ground cloning black folk and putting things in the chicken, the grape drink. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. And what does he do? He shoots Fontaine. He kills Fontaine. Did I mention again? R.I.P. to Fontaine. I wonder what this next clone is going to be like. They show a man under the glen getting brainwashed, a couple of body bags next to him. But then we get a little flashback and we see Slick Charles putting Fontaine to sleep. And you're wondering what the hell is going on here? Well, you remember Slick Charles was telling Fontaine about having a plan? Well, remember the guy he ran over, broke his legs? Well, Clone Fontaine went over to him, gave him $1,000 and said, go give this to Isaac and tell him I want to talk to him. Because now, since they're hearing everything that's going on, they're reenacting what typical niggas would be doing, beefing with each other and shooting at each other. So the plan is to have Fontaine, who is in on it, speak out loud enough that they can hear him say, "What are you saying? There's a Bill Nye the Science Guy under the Glen cloning people?" And then he shot Fontaine in the shoulder so it wouldn't kill him, but Fontaine could play dead and they could take his body up under the Glen. Then Fontaine hops up under the Glen, comes out the body bag, puts a gun to one of the scientists' heads and says, "Oh, real quick, lead me to Yo-Yo." Isaac partner up with him. Slick Charles is leading the charge. We got all kinds of donks out here. Drop top Chevys. We got Monte Carlos. We got 24s, 26s, 28s, 30s. It don't even matter. We out here, but we all riding for Fontaine and we riding for the Glen. Well, it looks like this plan is working because we know that Fontaine's down there. He's getting directions throughout the whole underworld. Slick Charles got the whole hood with him. They came in shooting shotguns everywhere. I'm talking every single exit, the church, the chicken spot, everywhere we pulling up. And we even see Yo-Yo putting in some action with the commandant hit in the back of the noggin. Well, it wouldn't be a good movie without a good fight scene. And this fight scene wasn't good because Fontaine stumbles across who? Chester. Now you got to remember Fontaine, he does have a bullet in the shoulder. And Chester whooped his ass pretty easily. I'm talking about took him down quickly. But he didn't kill him. Oh no, he didn't kill him. Chester brings him down to some office and it looks like we have a couple of chambers, 5 of them to be exact. And to the very left, we have a dark-skinned brother. To the very right, we have a white guy. So it looks like the transformation from dark to white. While Fontaine is sitting in the principal's office, Slick Charles and Yo-Yo, they're going toe-to-toe with Nixon. Now we know Nixon is a bad mother effer, but these two together, they're trying to come up with some kind of strategy. We see Yo-Yo tell Slick Charles, go ahead and flank Nixon. Now Nixon is telling them, listen, I'm gonna have fun killing you all because this is what Nixon been waiting on. Someone to rebel. Fontaine is introduced to the head scientist, the mad scientist behind all of this cloning, and he keeps it short and simple and basically lets him know the powers that be, they make everything happen. So yeah, he's working with them. But you know all the white people we've been seeing? The manager with the afro, the scientist with the afro. Well, that's because all the cloning, it hasn't been 100% good. They've been turning black people white. But the only thing when they clone is they get to keep their afro. Now, he's not a clone, but Chester is a clone. And Fontaine, he's quick on his toes. So while he's sitting there, before he's about to die, he whispers out 2 words. Olympia, black. You remember, Chester is in there. Chester is also a clone. He tells Chester to shoot the scientist. Fontaine used Chester. He got up out of there. And then we get back to Yo-Yo and Slick Charles. Nixon thinks he got Yo-Yo exactly where she wants him. Now, we see a body on the ground. It got gaiters on. It got a fur on. It got necklaces on. We like, damn. They didn't got Slick Charles. Yo-Yo is trying to convince Nixon, man, damn, you got him. But out of nowhere, Slick Charles shows up and shoots him. They put the clone body on the ground, fooled Nixon, put a bullet right through his head. Damn. R.I.P. Nixon, but congrats to Slick Charles and Yo-Yo. Now, let's tear this place down. Once they start escaping from up under the Glen, everyone is celebrating. But guess what? There's all kinds of clones just walking around the Glen, and everyone's wondering what the hell happened. Even though the hood knows what happened, because the hood is the one that went down there and freed all of these so-called clones. Let my people go. Well, they're out walking around, and people are like, what the hell is going on here? After setting the clones free, tearing up the city, and getting whatever the hell's up under the Glen up out of here, we see Slick Charles start to fall in love with Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo wants to head to Memphis and start fresh because this is just the beginning. They didn't stop with the city of Glen. They're everywhere in America with these so-called clinics. Now, Slick Charles and Yo-Yo, they gonna head out. Fontaine said he's only a couple of days older, but he might want to go to Memphis with him. He wants to see the world and travel. He doesn't want to live the same life that he's been living for these last couple of days, because he seen it was just a continuous cycle of going nowhere. Well, it appears we're in California now, but it's a guy that looks like Fontaine, but he has tattoos on the face and he has braids. On the TV, they're talking about clones being released into the streets. And this guy right here, he kind of looks like Tyrone. And everyone in the room, they turn and look at Tyrone and say, "Ain't that you, Tyrone?" He's looking at the screen like, "Is that me?" And it kind of has you wondering, did they clone Tyrone or did they clone Fontaine? All right, there you go, the recap of They Cloned Tyrone. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just give this a 7 out of 10. It was a different type of movie. It wasn't bad. It was kind of hard to follow, but at the same time it wasn't, if that makes sense. But I definitely appreciate these kind of movies. Yeah, we had a lot of stereotypes in there. There were some gems. But like I said, I give it a 7 out of 10. Make sure you tune in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to actually have an open live discussion where we talk about it, try to get some Easter eggs and figure things out. Maybe there's some things that I may have glossed over and we kind of got to put 2 and 2 together and read between the lines. But let me know what you think about it in the comments. We're back to doing reviews. We're back to doing recaps. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit that like button, turn on your notification bell. I'm J. I appreciate you all. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for supporting me. More content on the way. I'm out.